Hi, this is Angela Arnold with Selman and Company, and today I'm here with Stephanie Hrouda, a client manager who specializes in working with employers who offer TRICARE Supplement insurance as a voluntary benefit. How you doing, Stephanie?
Good. Thanks for having me, Angela.
Thanks, Stephanie. Let's jump right into it. So there are a lot of different insurance programs in the U.S., and TRICARE is just a piece of the puzzle. Maybe you can take us from a top view and help us orient where TRICARE fits in, because a lot of people might not even know what it is. So what kinds of insurance are out there?
So looking at this data from Kaiser Family Foundation from 2016, we can see that 56% or the majority have private or individual health care. You can also see that less than 9% are uninsured, and the remaining 36% are insured in some form by the government.
Okay, so maybe you can walk us through a little bit more about what that looks like.
Yes, looking at this next slide, let's dive a little deeper into those public systems. These systems are going to include Medicare, Medicaid, which we're all pretty familiar with, but it also includes TRICARE and the VA.
Great. So some employers might know about Medicaid and Medicare, for example, but they may not know about TRICARE. What is TRICARE?
TRICARE is the health insurance program for the military community, and it's operated and managed by the Department of Defense.
All right, great. I see that there are 3 plans that we're going to talk about today. Maybe you can walk us through those.
So there are 3 types of TRICARE. These 3 are compatible with the TRICARE Supplement plan, and the majority of TRICARE recipients, except for active duty members, will have one of these 3 plans.
Okay.
The first being TRICARE Standard Extra, which will soon be called TRICARE Select, which works very similarly to a PPO. There's no enrollment fee, no enrollment required. The Standard Extra plan will have higher out-of-pocket expenses due to the fact that there are no fees, which the supplement plan can cover. And therefore, we see the most enrollments with this type of TRICARE.
So most people have this type of TRICARE.
Most people that enroll in the supplemental plan
Got it.
have this type of TRICARE. The next is TRICARE Prime. This works similarly to an HMO. So you're provided or given a primary care manager, and they really encourage you to not go out of network. You have to get referrals to see a specialist. Everything is funneled through that primary care manager. And the third type is TRICARE Reserve Select. That's going to be for your National Guard and Reserve members.
Okay. So these plans seem to vary. Some of these plans require military members to pay enrollment fees or get referrals and that sort of thing. Can you describe the differences between these 3 TRICARE plans?
The options available under TRICARE are going to vary based on the individual's eligibility status. For example, active duty, reserves, and retirees are the 3 primary eligibility categories. And among the categories, there might be options that are very similar to a PPO or an HMO type of plan found in the private sector. A key difference between the PPO type plan, now known as TRICARE Standard Extra, which as I mentioned will be called TRICARE Select beginning January 1st, 2018, and the HMO style plan known as TRICARE Prime, is the enrollment and fee structure. For example, an eligible individual would have to complete an enrollment, pay a fee, and reside in a designated service area to qualify for TRICARE Prime. TRICARE Standard Extra, on the other hand, does not require any enrollment or fee today. If you're eligible, you're in. Other notable differences between the 2 are choice of medical provider. Prime, like private sector HMOs, require you to have a primary care physician or a PCP. And you need to get a referral from your PCP to see a specialist. Prime also has higher copays and out-of-pocket expenses if you go out of network for care. Because of the more restrictive network, you can't enroll in Prime unless you live in a designated service area. TRICARE Standard Extra does not require you to have a PCP, and you have more flexibility to see a specialist and less prohibitive fees if you go out of network.
Okay. So, Stephanie, these are great plans and they sound really robust, but it sounds like they still leave behind costs for the military member and his or her family. Let's move on and talk about TRICARE supplemental insurance and how it fits with TRICARE plans.
TRICARE Supplement is an optional add-on insurance that supplements the coverage and benefits under TRICARE. So the most important thing to remember is that you have to have TRICARE to have the supplement. It really wraps around TRICARE. And I think for a lot of people, it helps to think of it like a Medicare supplement. So if I have Medicare, I have a supplement. It helps fill in those gaps in between the holes.
Great. So can you walk us through the features of the supplement plan?
The supplemental plan is going to cover things like your cost shares, prescription copays. For example, when I go to the pharmacy, I will present my TRICARE card. TRICARE is going to pay their copay amount, and then I'm going to have a leftover amount that I would normally have to cover as the insured. But the supplement is going to pick up the cost for me.
Great. So you get reimbursed.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I noticed that there are no pre-existing condition exclusions and that eligible people are guaranteed issue. Maybe you can talk a little bit about this next point here about continuation of coverage. What does that mean?
Continuation of coverage means that if my employer offers a TRICARE supplement plan and I elect coverage under it, but then for some reason I'm no longer eligible for coverage through that employer, I can continue my supplemental coverage on a direct bill basis through Selman and Company. So the plan benefits and rates will remain the same. The only difference is that I would be paying Selman directly instead of premiums be taken out of my payroll.
Okay, Stephanie, thanks for explaining the plan features. Who is eligible for a TRICARE supplement?
The easiest way to remember who's eligible is going to be to think about anybody who has TRICARE. As long as you have TRICARE and are not active duty or Medicare eligible, you're going to be eligible for the supplemental plan.
So it looks like that's going to be retirees, their spouses, their dependent children, and National Guard and Reserve members.
Correct.
But not active duty.
That's correct. No active duty.
Okay. Right. Okay, so what's interesting about this is that for people who qualify, we're talking about spouses and children also being included in this widened sphere of eligibility as well. So that makes the program even more useful to a military member because they know they can get their spouse or their kids covered with a supplement. Is that right?
Yes, and I think it's important to know that when a spouse of a military member is employed by a company and that spouse or employee is covered under TRICARE as the spouse of an eligible military member, then they too might benefit from the TRICARE supplement plan.
Okay, good to know. One other thing I want to note here about the concept of retiree. I was reading and I noticed that some military folks start their military careers at 18, which means they can retire after 20 years of creditable service. And that means that retiree is somebody who could be as young as 38.
Yes, the people who tend to get a supplement are usually between the ages of 38 and 65. And it goes to 65 because once you turn 65, the member is usually covered under other options such as Medicare and TRICARE for life.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much. We've talked about what is TRICARE. We've talked about how it fits into the bigger picture of insurance. We've also talked about what the supplement is. But I want to talk about the 4 ways that an employer benefits by offering a TRICARE supplement, because this is really why we're here, right? Is to explain why an employer would want to offer this supplement in their a la carte program of voluntary benefits and services. So why should an employer offer a TRICARE supplement?
The first reason we're going to look at is the fact that it's an attractive alternative to the company's major medical plans. The supplement creates a path for a TRICARE eligible person to opt out of the employer's major medical plan. If they do that, that's a savings for the employer.
And how much is that?
Well, according to SHRM, in 2016, large employers paid roughly 78% of the premium cost for employees and their families. And according to a Zane benefit survey, employers contributed an average of $5,100 per employee.
The next reason I see here is that there is no employer contribution to the supplement plan, right?
Correct. There is no contribution by the employer for this plan. It's 100% paid for by the employee. Plus, a supplement plan offered through the employer's payroll deduction process is really convenient for the employee.
Okay, nice. And then there's also the cost savings for the employees too, right? So just walk me through a best case scenario for an employee. Like what might he or she, as a beneficiary of a TRICARE supplement, what might he or she save?
Being enrolled in the supplement plan will help save on their out-of-pocket expenses, deductibles, co-pays, excess charges. So typically we find that the combination of TRICARE plus the supplement plan has lower premium costs than a major medical plan. And depending on the type of supplement plan that you have in your coverage, we see out-of-pocket cost savings as much as $2,000 annually compared to coverage only under TRICARE.
Okay, that's a lot. So let's talk about the last reason here that an employer might want to offer this product. This makes a lot of sense to me, that an employer would want to attract and retain those really well-qualified employees who have a military background.
Yes, so offering the TRICARE supplement plan is going to give you a little bit of an edge against your competitors. This shows that you value the people who have served.
So Stephanie, thanks for all of that. I think we've talked a little bit about what TRICARE is, how the TRICARE supplement works. What should an employer do as some next steps?
If an employer currently doesn't offer it, you're going to want to get a proposal. This way we can discuss specifics for your workforce. If you already do offer it but want to increase awareness of this voluntary benefit, I can help with that. We provide plan materials such as brochures and FAQ packets, along with language that can be used in your benefit guide. We can also provide custom services such as benefit fairs or webinars to help educate employees.
Stephanie, thank you so much for sitting and talking with me about TRICARE Supplement as a voluntary benefit for employers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.